Nah, that theme is too happy. That theme is too happy. We don't need that theme. We are getting right into it right now. What is going on, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. I was going to take today off. But apparently you guys just won't leave me alone, and the comments won't stop coming. And you know what? I actually was recording this video, and I got about 25% done, and I'm like, man, this is taking way too long, and I didn't remember how to put the side-by-side up crop track motion thing, and then you know what? I said, screw it. Let's do it live. Why are we going to record it? So this is the first in a series of showdowns, I'm sure, to come, where we're going to just do the standard Seattle showdown with both aircraft. Now, this stream is not going to be like your traditional stream. We're going to take off from Seattle. We're going to do a profile that we've done on this channel years ago. We're going to fly a couple approaches. We're going to do some holds. We're going to do some maneuvers, and then we're going to come back and end the stream with an autoland. The weather conditions are fixed. We've got a 15-knot crosswind with 15-knot gusts at 250, and we're going to be landing on runway 16 and 34 in Seattle. So we'll have a crosswind for all directions of flight. And the weather conditions will not change. I can show you right now that we have the custom weather is set. Live weather is off. We are starting at 6 a.m. for both aircraft. There's our wind speeds, 250 at 15. Everything else is standard. You guys voted for the FSlabs first. We're going to do the FSlabs versus the Fenix. Now, I'm going to be as objective as I can and unbiased as possible because everyone says I'm super biased. But if you think that I'm going to avoid all the things that we found wrong with this airplane on the first stream, you're going to need to buckle up because we're going to be going over those things as well. If it's wrong, I'm going to call it out. Period. Fenix, FSlabs, Microsoft Flight Sim. Let's be real. Probably most of the bugs are Flight Sim related anyway. And we're just going to go from here. Now, we're not going to grade this like we did the Tolis versus the Fenix because we are actually comparing. We're not really comparing the engines and performance and everything because we have the Neo version versus CEO version. This is really just kind of like what kind of Airbus-isms are there and that are or not there, because I keep hearing FSlabs has got better systems. FSlabs has got better systems. I'll be the first to tell you that I love FSlabs system from back in the day. However, in 2025 with the Fenix out, I have yet to find anybody show me an example of something better that it does better than the Fenix. So I said, let's test it for ourselves. Now, I asked my Discord in a genuine manner. I said, hey, what have you guys found that the FSlabs that does better? A couple things that we're not going to get to, I don't think, is brake temperature simulation. Apparently, brake temperature simulation is much more accurate in the FSlabs, which is good. I've been saying that the Fenix one has been a little bit off from the get-go pretty much. The temperatures just don't build up quick enough. So that is a positive. The battery test we learned yesterday from Tender Aviation. Battery test is also correct. How should I say this? Both aircraft will do it. It's just on initial load-in. The Fenix always fails the first battery test when you boot it up. So you just have to do the battery charge, and then you redo it, and it would pass the battery test. But that is correct. Those are two things that I am aware of right now that the FSlabs that has over the Fenix. If we find more, great. If we find less, great. But this stream is going to be about putting these aircraft head-to-head. We're in the same sim. And let's just have some fun with it. I will ask the chat. I know there's going to be some very heated comments probably coming through the chat. Listen, if you want to attack someone's argument, that's fine. As soon as I see anybody attacking other people in the chat, I don't care who you are, I'm just going to insta-ban you with no warning. And Vodka, you have my authority to just drop insta-bans as well. Attack the argument, that's fine. But if y'all start, acting like little children in here, we're just going to start dropping ban hammers. So, is the FSlabs any good? Coder, I think the FSlabs can be a really good airplane. Now, this is their Neo version. I think it's going to be, I think it's going to get better with multiple patches. But again, I'm really just addressing all of these comments and content that I've seen from other creators saying the FSlabs is the GOAT of systems. I'm like, okay, I got to find out for myself. So we're going to do the Seattle showdown. I've got the flight plan pinned on the chat there. You can see what we're going to do. And I also have a little notepad of things that I'm going to do as well. So, and if I come up with some more stuff, but essentially we got a couple ground tests we're going to look at. We're going to do a manual engine start, a cross-bleed start. We're going to look at some flex and Toga stuff. We're not really going to taxi the airplane right now, but I'll just tell you the taxiing ground physics are not good in the FSlabs, in my opinion. Airborne, we're doing hold entries, maneuvers. We're going to do normal law, Airbus protections. We're not going to get into the direct law. I did test both of these. Both aircraft do simulate going into direct law just fine. So for the sake of time, we're going to cut out that part of it. Basic ECAM handling. We're going to look at some other in-depth niche things in the McDo. Lateral offset. This was a heated discussion because apparently everyone says that it's done correctly. It is not done correctly, even though it is Thales, and Thales is vastly inferior to Honeywell, which is what I'm familiar with. In a Thales lateral root offset, you should be able to offset from any line select key, not just L1, according to the documentation I read. But the entry exit point and all that, that is a Honeywell feature. That is not part of a Thales system. So let's clear the air on that. Look at a couple other things, and then, like I said, we got 3 approaches. ILS 1.6 center, autopilot off at 200 feet. We're going to do the RNAV 3.4 center, and then we're going around on both of those, and then we're going to do the ILS 1.6 center Cat 3 autoland, regardless of any glide slope warnings or autoland lights or anything like that. We're just going to let the airplanes do what they're going to do, and if they crash, they crash. If they land, they land. I'm not going to touch anything at all. I also have the vertical cockpit cam up. I'm going to be trying to toggle my cockpit cam on the main stream, but if I forget and you just want to see, make sure I'm not cheating, the cockpit cam stream is up as well, so that'll constantly be on for you. All right? Those are the ground rules. Let's rock and roll. Kip on the ground. What's up, man? Microsoft default DC versus Matsim. Kip. Oh, man, that's funny, dude. Good to see you, man. Hope you're having a wonderful day, man. Let's fire this airplane up. So here we go into the cockpit. Now, I will say I did learn how to put the zero fuel weight in there, which is fantastic. It's super easy. So Thales is pronounced tails. Thales. Oh, Thales? It's pronounced Thales. Thales? Like Thales? I'm going to call it Thales just to make sure everyone knows I'm not French. Here we go. Battery 1, battery 2. And I'm going to be semi-quick on the startup. We're just booting up the airplane. We're not going to spend a lot of time here. I'll show you the simple flight plan, but we're going to load it all up together so you know I'm doing the same exact thing for each aircraft. The first thing we're going to test is something really cool that I actually learned works on other aircraft is the cabin flow rate of the air conditioning. So we're going to with the cabin fans and with the respect to the ground condition air. So that's going to be the first thing we test. And we'll get the airplane booted up here. I'm just going to wait for the screens to come to life and we'll commence our flow. The comment section is going to be worse than after. Jeez, Asobaso, what's up, man? No slewing allowed. No slewing allowed. All right. Now, when Fenix releases a Neo, you can guarantee that we're going to do a scoreable. This is like an exhibition fight. When the Fenix Neo is out, it will be a scoreable 1v1 match. This is an exhibition match. I'm just trying to find out where all these superior systems modelings are. And I'm looking for them. Like, I want to see them. What's the difference between John Elway and O.J. Simpson? I won't say the punchline. Here we go. Pete Ski, thank you for the 20 gifted subs, my man. Appreciate you. Massive 20 gifted sub drop here on the channel. Very kind, Pete Ski. Appreciate the support. CVR test. Checks. Captain Purrs, Captain. Get the 8-ers 1, 2, and 3. Strobe, auto. Nav on. Auto. Arm U. That all looks good. We already did the battery test. We might as well, we're not going to do it again for sake of time. We know it works. Fire test. David Isaac, welcome to Commercial Pilot, man. Glad to have you back on board. You can hear the vent blowers and everything going through their power-up test. That's what that fading in and out is. That's accurate. Thank you again, Pete Ski. Appreciate you, man. All right, coming up the right side, everything else looks fine and normal on the overhead there. It's coming back down here. We've got everything. We've got engine oil. That checks. Let's get our McDo's up. Did I lose a McDo? I'm going to have to check the... just powered off there. All right. What we're going to do is we're going to go right here. Options. Check this out. This is awesome. Fuel. We're going to go 12,000 pounds of fuel. Look how easy this is. Dunzo. Return. That was 12,000, right? Not 12. Yeah, 12,000 pounds. Payload. Check this out. We're going to go gross weight 160. Boom. Aircraft loaded. I love it. Return. It's easy. I like it. All right, here we go. Let's begin the initialization of the aircraft. We're going to take this from top down. So we're going to be loading Seattle to Seattle. And we're going to load each box identical. Flight number is just going to be 357. Cost index is going to be 5. Cruise altitude is going to be 5. Is that 500? There we go, 5,000 feet. Ground temp match is 15. IRS and NIT, we'll just go ahead and hit a line on ref. We don't have that on our news. Departure 16 left on the Harib 6. Insert. Coming right back, Seattle, arrival, ILS, 16 center, no star, return, insert. Secondary, initialize, couple things we want to test. First things first, let's get our secondary in here. Seattle, Seattle, boom. Secondary flight plan. Seattle, departure, 16 left, return. Then we're going to put in our engine out. Seattle, 161 radial, 15 miles, should create PBD-01. Oh, it must have stored the PBD-03. Must have stored them from the last time I created one. Okay. Anyway, it's still in the box in the secondary. So PBD-01, that's our engine out scenario. Coming right back, ILS, 16 center, no star, secondary, perf. If we have to come back to Seattle, barrel mins are 630. Temperature is 15. Altimeter is 2992. Winds are 250 at 15. Secondary flight plan is loaded. Progress page, we'll put KSEA in the box. Oops. Perf, init B. We'll copy this over. Fuel, 12.0, done. That's loading up. Aircraft is finishing the alignment phase. Let's go ahead and get the, while we have the conditioned air, okay, not the air start unit, but we have conditioned air on. Let's go through our first test here. So let me explain what's happening. Right now, the aircraft is sitting on the ground, and we don't have the APU running. So the only way to keep the cabin cool is to use portable conditioned air or jetway air. Those big yellow hoses that you would see outside of the aircraft. I'm going to turn my sim down a little bit. Is it too loud for y'all? I'm going to turn my sim down 50% here. Actually, you know what? There we go. That's better. So we've got conditioned air blowing into the cabin. Now, this is actually something that was kind of new that was brought to us, I don't know, last year or so. It said, hey, if you're struggling to keep the aircraft cool with conditioned air, you need to turn the cabin fans off. Because if you turn the cabin fans off, the air conditioner outside is going to actually have less restriction of trying to get the cool air into the cabin, and you will actually get lower temperature air into the ducts. Now, the trade-off is when the cabin fans are off, the volume of air flowing through the cabin is going to be less. So it's a trade-off. In my real-world experience, I don't think it's worth it, because even though we get cooler air, the flow rate is just so little that I'd rather just have it blasting and be a little bit warmer. But at the very least, if we turn off the cabin fans, we should see a decrease in temperature from the external air. So cabin fans are coming off. It's our first test. We're locked at 54. No change. All right, so no change. We'll make sure we test the same thing on the Phoenix. We'll go ahead and turn the seatbelt sign on. We actually have all of our fuel, so we get the fuel on as well. Let's get the APU fired up. And we'll just monitor the APU startup sequence. Is the air a lot cooler or just a bit cooler with cabin fans off? It drops it a handful of degrees, Jeremy. It actually lowers it. I've seen it go down as much as like 7-8 degrees. So it's significant. But like I said, the flow rate just comes down. It's like, I don't know. When you get in your hot car, what are you going to do? You're going to turn your air on low, or are you going to just go full blast even though it's a little bit warm and try to cool yourself off? It's a trade-off. Wingnuts here. What's up, man? Dude, are you working? I thought you were working. Can you quick load different states, cold, dark, taxi, etc.? Bill's Mafia, there is state saving in the FSlabs. There is, yes. I'll show you that here in a moment as soon as we get the APU booted up. Does PCA actually blow temps that low IRL? Fenix actually blow temps in the high 60s. It really depends. It's Jerry. I've seen portable air outside be really good. I've seen ground air carts keep the airplane relatively cool. I've also seen ground air carts blow in 90-degree air. So it depends greatly on the unit that's outside. No, Evan, it doesn't, just because we're on the runway, we have PCA air connected here, so it doesn't change. It's, there's no, I don't believe there's an external model for it either way. It's just something you toggle. You can hear it in the fans when you turn it on, turn it off. All right, APU is up and running. We'll start the chrono. And somebody asked about save states. There you go. Panel states, you can load, save, set default. So it does have that. Yes, it does. All right, so aircraft is aligned. Next thing we're going to look at is, let's throw an alternate in here. So let's put an alternate of Portland. Okay, PDX, all right, that's our alternate. Fuel for the alternate, it's saying 2.1. Let's call that 2.5. Give us at least 30 minutes extra there. Now, what is missing from this fuel predict page with alternates, this is something we discovered on leg 1, is we don't have PDX airport in here. We should have Portland in there with some additional information. This fuel predict page is kind of bugging out. All right, we discovered this on our first flight. We will test it again in the Fenix just to be 100% fair and 100% certain. Both of these boxes are modeling a Thales type of box, right? A Thales, right? Thales? However you say it. I am familiar with Honeywell, and in my opinion, I think Honeywell is much more superior, but we'll get to that later. So fuel predict alternate is having issues. Now, to clarify, in our box, we cannot put none, or we put none in here, but you cannot clear it out. This, we can't clear out no matter what I do to the alternate. So there's a problem with that as well. Once you put an alternate, you can't clear it or delete it. We will check again, obviously, in the Fenix, but we're just doing some ground tests here. All right, airplane is up and running. Let's get the constraint mode on. Magic barrel ref is set. We're going to set a top altitude of 5,000 feet. 5,000 feet is set. Let's go ahead and turn off the air-conditioned air, and we can go ahead and disconnect from the GPU because the APU is up and running. You can see how you heard the air go away, so that's how I know we're actually getting air. We'll disconnect the GPU. Before we do our startup test next, let's go ahead and look at our charts. Let's get them all pinned up here. Roscoe, what's up, man? 42 months, just should get a brother proper check ride Friday or Saturday. What's up, man? V1 guy since 7/3/19, check ride for Roscoe. Roscoe, for sure, man. Hey, what you doing over there on the vertical stream, Roscoe? You should be out here on the full size stream. What's going on, man? Thank you for the support. 42 months, Roscoe. All right, so the EFB is, in my opinion, not optimal, but that's just my opinion. The way it kind of works around here, it just is not. I wish it could be cleaned up a little bit. It's kind of hard to type those things in. So ILS 16 center, we're going to pin this chart. We're also going to pin the ILS 16 center Cat 3, and actually I didn't pin the first one. All right, pinned, and then we're doing the RNAV. I believe it's the RNAV Yankee 234 center. And if you're wondering where I'm getting this from, this used to be the real-world profile that I would fly for recurrent checks. So I'm not making this stuff. We're literally flying the exact real-world profile that I would fly for recurrent checks. Now, it's since changed. A couple of years ago, they changed our training program, so we no longer do this. But I still think it's a great little mini check ride, if you will. So we've got 3 charts all pulled up. With that said, let's go ahead and get rid of that. Let's go ahead and look at takeoff perf data here. So you'll notice, as I'm slewing camera views around, it's the airplane on my system is heavier on frames, on performance. It's heavier on performance. I don't think there's any hiding it. You see that when I change views. No, airborne, it's okay, but I think it could use some more optimization, especially ground level. Let's calculate some takeoff numbers. So we're going to set the, apparently it thinks it's 3007, Seattle, dry. Can I adjust this without, that's close enough. 16 left for takeoff. Calculate. Sometimes you gotta click here and then click here. This calls for flaps 2, flex of 57. Okay, so we've got 67, 70, 70, flaps 2. So let's go perf, 167. Wait, really? Yeah, 170, 170, flaps 2, and a flex of 57 degrees. All right, we're going to come back to that after engine start. Let's go ahead and begin our engine start. The first engine start test we're going to do is a manual engine start. So to do a manual engine start, this is how Wingnut always starts his 737. So we're going to treat it like a Boeing. What we need for a manual engine start, we're going to need APU bleed pressure. So we get APU bleed pressure on. We're then going to move the ignition start switch. Let me go ahead and move my 320 cam on so you guys can see the full cam. I'm going to move the ignition start to ignition start. You'll see bleed pressure arise. And I should also turn the beacon on. Maybe that triggers something with the flight attendants perhaps. So beacon is on. We have bleed pressure. And we're going to go ahead and press the manual engine start push button. With the manual engine start push button on, we'll wait for the aircraft to motor up. Now, real world, you would be monitoring and be ready. This would be a manual engine start. You have to monitor the start and the abort switch because you don't have any protections on this one. We have limited protections. There's the motoring. Now we're going to introduce fuel. You'll notice manual engine start, we get ignition AB. That is correct. So on a manual engine start, you get both ignition A and B. That is correct. It's a nuance. It's modeled correctly. There's our light off. Engine's available. Got a good engine start. We'll turn the man start push button off. Now we're going to do a cross bleed, and we're going to see how the bleed logic is modeled. I'm going to close that door. So for a cross bleed engine start, I'm going to turn the APU bleed off. With the APU bleed off, you'll notice we got bleed pressure. Excuse me, I'm coughing. Sorry, I had to get a sip of water there. All right, so this is correct indications. We got bleed pressure. We got bleed pressure on the left side. And for a cross bleed engine start, when I move the start switch to ignition start, we should get an increase of N1. Or excuse me, when I move the cross bleed to open, because what's going to happen is engine number 1 is going to be providing all of the bleed air. So we should see a rise in N1. All right, so that's going to open. Now we've got bleed pressure on the right side. Look at the increase in N1. That's very good. Now, this next part, full disclosure, I don't know if the CFM LEAPs do idle engine start, but we're going to try it anyway. I know the Pratts do. And as long as you have pressure, I think the bleed logic is similar. It should go ahead and start up. So we go start engine 2. We're leaving the thrust lever at idle. It's already increased. It's gone to like the, what is it, the modulated idle to provide bleed pressure for number 2. Phoenix Galaxy, the attention grabbers. So the attention grabbers that you're seeing, these white icons around the SD and upper ECAM, they are there, but those are very modern software. To my knowledge, the software that we have modeled in the FSlabs, those wouldn't actually be there. But it's not necessarily, I should say it's not necessarily incorrect, because we do have those. We have those on our fleet, on our new aircraft. But there's a couple other things that aren't up, that they just don't jive. We've got a mix and match going on here. But we've got a good engine start on number 2, idle thrust with the leaps. There's the avail light. Very good. We're passing tests. This is good. Now we got engine 2 on. Look what happens. We're going to reduce our ground idle, even though the cross bleed's open, because it's getting bleed from number 2. So that is correct. So we'll go ahead and we'll close the cross bleed. That goes back to auto. We no longer need the APU. The APU switch can come down. And we've got 2 good starts. Ignition mode to norm. We'll arm the speed brake, and we're going to set flaps 2. Do I like the sounds? No. Pilot boy, I noticed the fluctuation in PSI there for start. I don't know if that's accurate or not. I'm just here to put these aircrafts head to head. We'll see what the other airplane does. But how it was dropping to 0 and back on and 0 and back on, I'm not sure. Is that engine start too fast for the LEAP, Jack? I do not know. I'm not going to comment on that because I don't start the LEAPs. So I'm a Pratt & Whitney Neo guy. So I'm not going to comment if they're faster or slower. I will say the Pratts will be the longest starting engines with their motoring, dual motoring. All right, so now we're going to go back to our takeoff data. We've got 2 good starts. You'll notice our flex has been populated. So right now, with our perf takeoff, we have 167, 170, 170, flex of 57. That means if I were to apply flex takeoff thrust, I should get 89.6. If I were to change this, let's say American 357, you've got wind shear reported, cleared for takeoff. Okay, a couple things we could do to help mitigate wind shear risk. We're going to do a no flex. We'll delete the flex. Now we're Toga. Toga is accurately simulated, but I would expect to see a change here in the thrust requirement. 89.6. Let's see if we did some crazy flex number. Does it drop it? No. So at flex 80, which we can't even flex to 80, I don't think, it's not changing. So something is that's not correct. All right? We're going to leave it at Toga thrust because we only do Togas here anyway. So, but that's noted. All right. We got the constraint mode up, terrain's on. Let me go ahead and turn on all this stuff here just so we don't have the ECAM messages. Auto on. We'll turn you on and auto. Beautiful. We'll lock that door. All right, cool. We'll get the lights on. And now we're going to go fly. Let me make sure I'll check my notes here. In Thales, you can flex 99 to 99. All right, very cool. Very cool, Sass. I didn't know that. Yeah, I feel like I don't know if I've ever seen it like over 70, but I mean, that may just be operational too. I don't know. All right, so I'm kind of going over make sure I didn't miss anything here. We did the air temp, we did the manual engine start, we did cross bleed start, we looked at flex and Toga. I told you about taxiing this airplane on the ground. It's not right. Something with the nose wheel is too laggy with the tiller axis. It's not responding the way it should. I think this is why everybody thinks it's so stable on the center line, because it's almost like there's a built-in dead zone with the nose wheel to keep the airplane straight, which is okay, but then you end up over-controlling the airplane, because once that nose wheel starts to turn, it turns way too aggressively. So we're not going to taxi the airplane. We're spawning on the runway for sake of time. However, in my opinion, the ground physics and taxiing of the airplane needs some work. Definitely needs some work. All right, is there anything else? I've kind of gone over what I've gone over. Is there anything else you guys want to see before we take off and go airborne? Roxanne says the flex temp bug was reported and acknowledged by FSlabs. Very cool. All right. That's what we're here for, man. We're finding bugs. All right. We're going to do takeoff config test. Does anybody know how to move this? Surely I can move this. There we go. All right. Does the seat move? Ah, seat doesn't move. All right. All right. Finally, we got the armrest out of the way. Jeez. All right. Auto brakes max. We're ready. No one's got any more questions? Let's take it airborne. So you know I'm not playing favorites. We're going to go airborne. We're going to nav it up, get the autopilot on. I'm going to put a quick hold there at Richer. We're going to enter the hold, and then we're going to exit the hold on a heading back towards the north side of Seattle here to get us on the right side. We'll do some maneuvers. We'll go over some Airbus protections, and then we'll come back. Oh, yeah, trim for takeoff. Thank you. 0.7 down. We just set you 0.7% down. Trim does move very fast. I'm not saying that's right, wrong, or different. I'm just be careful when you set your trim because it moves a lot faster than other ones. So, all right. We ready? Let's go. Yoga's in chat. Lights are on. Brake. Released. Do we still have chocks on? Let me double check. We might have chocks on. Ground connections. Chocks are removed. We'll bring up our Navigraph charts. First approach is going to be the ILS 16 center standard. Coming right back into here. ILS, I can't read that. 16 center, not the Cat 3. All right, cool. Let's go. Man, Toga SRS runway, auto thrust is blue. Thrust set. Move that forward pressure out, neutral by 100 knots. Check. V1, rotate. Positive rate, gear up, navin, fly with. Thrust, climb, auto thrust. Flaps 1. We will engage autopilot 1. We're nabbing. Once we get over KOB, I'm going to insert a computed hold at Richer. I'm doing it over KOB, so I remember when to do it at the same exact spot. All right, here comes our S-speed. We already know auto flap, auto slat works. Flaps are coming up after takeoff checklist. Let's go ahead and select Richer, hold, computed, exactly how I want it. Right turns, insert the hold. See if she populates. I'll get the terrain off ND. After takeoff checklist is complete. So we should have a hold indication at Richer. I did insert it, right? Yeah, so hold is there. Keep an eye on it. We're climbing to 5,000, 4 for 5. Checks. You say ground handling, mostly tiller is weird. What are your curves set to for the tiller? They're 100% linear, just like every other airplane I have. Or just like every other Airbus. Because the tiller has its own, what do you call it, calibration. I'm not the only one to report that issue too, though, so I know it's not a hardware issue on my end. All right, so we're leveling 5,000. Did I put the hold on the wrong fix? Oh yeah, I put the hold on Emerald. I put the hold on Emerald. Okay, so Emerald's out there. I'm going to change that real quick. Ooh, will that let me do it on Richer? Hold, computed, insert. Now let's try on the hold. Let's delete the hold at Emerald. We got something going on here. So there's the end of the departure. 5,000. There's the hold at Richer. Mr. Wildchild, welcome to First Pod, man. I don't know where this other line is for here. This kind of goes out into infinity. I'm going to go ahead and select speed here. We're just going to maintain 250 knots. I would expect to see a set hold speed, but I don't see that. That could be a software thing. All right, let's go ahead and start setting up approach data so it stops yelling at us. We're going to let the airplane enter the hold. ILS 16 center is 630 baro. Winds are 250 at 15. VAP 141. Kind of curious. I'm going to see where it goes here because I don't know what this extended line is. Out cruise, we're navin. I just want to make sure it stays in the hold. I haven't actually done a full hold. So it looks like it's entering hold just fine. It might just be a drawing glitch. Wait, don't turn left on me now. There you go. Okay, so it's going to fly around the hold. Very cool. Let's exit the hold manually. We're going to select heading. I'm going to get us headed towards the first approach. We're going to head northbound, but I'm going to come a little bit left so we don't auto-cycle it. Let's go on a heading of 340. Heading of 340, let's clean up the box. So I'm going to immediately clean this up. We're going to draw a line off of Anvil. Again, radial inbound on our software is always auto-populated. I don't know why it's not populated here. It could be a software thing. 164, let's flip that around. That's going to be 344. Radial in. We'll do that, and we'll also pull heading so we don't get an auto-intercept. That's accurate behavior. See how the airplane want to do that little intercept thing? That's accurate. That's why you always guard the heading knob after you draw a line. All right, but our box is cleaned up nicely. We've got nothing but the ILS 16 center with an extended center line. I don't want to get too close to these waypoints though, so let's come to the left a tad. And let's do some normal protection. So I'm just going to bring the thrust levers to idle. Actually, sorry, I got ahead of myself. Re-engage the auto thrust. What I'm going to do is I'm going to select, I'll leave everything engaged. I'm going to select 100 and, let's just select something well below VLS. Let's select 140, okay? So I'm going to select 140. We're just testing basic Airbus protections now. Basic Airbus protections. What I expect to happen is the aircraft's going to maintain 5,000 feet. It's going to get down to VLS, which is the single yellow bar right here. I'll give you the full screen cam so you can see more. And it should maintain the VLS. Let's see the engine's thrust up. That's what it should do. Normal law, everything is operational. You can see the N1's actually already starting to come up to maintain VLS. Let's make sure she maintains VLS. Pretty good. And N1's are up 57%. 60%. Perfect. All right. What happens if you 250-hour pilot, you bring the thrust levers to idle? The aircraft should maintain 5,000 feet. Once we get to V alpha prot, it should disengage the autopilot. The autopilot is still engaged. I don't know why we're descending. Flight director is up. I got the altitude alert, so that's an oh shoot alarm right there. So we should be maintaining altitude, and at V alpha prot, we should be disengaging the autopilot. I don't know why it's not doing that. So we're just descending. Let's give it the benefit of the doubt. Let's just say 4,000 feet. 4,000, open descent, see if it levels at 4 here. Out star. The aircraft should level. The speed should decelerate, and we should have an autopilot disconnect. I'm not sure what's going on there. So that's incorrect. That's incorrect. That's not what would happen in the real aircraft. All right, so I'm going to, let's trigger an alpha floor event. So power is at idle, but the auto thrust is still active. If I were to manually disengage the autopilot, and if I were to pitch up, I should trigger an alpha floor event here. Alpha floor, that means thrust is going to come to Toga. Here it comes. Toga lock. Wait for that thrust to get up there. All right, cool. Lower the nose. I'm going to manually recover the aircraft now. That seems to work okay. All right. Let's check. We're going to do one alternate reversionary test here. So I'm going to turn the flight directors off. Turn the LS push-up buttons off. We're going to get, whoa, sorry about that. We're going to get IRs too. 1 and 3 are off. We're going to go reversionary panel, Captain 3. I got my data back. We're going to bird mode is on. So we have proper indications here. I can tell immediately. We've got VLS, but no V alpha prot, because guess what? We have alternate law, prot lost. That means protection lost. So we shouldn't have the V alpha prot, or excuse me, we shouldn't have the protection speed scale, which we do not. That is accurate. That is well done. I'm going to accelerate this deceleration here by pitching up to 10 degrees. As soon as we get an indication of a stall, I'm going to recover. We should get a stall. You can stall the aircraft in alternate law. There it is. Lower the nose. Get those engines running. Nice and easy. Spin that up so it stops beeping at us. All right. So overall, it's got some stuff going on there. I like to see it. We just have a bug with the main normal law protection there. I don't know why that was doing that. So we're pretty much good there. Let's do a quick steep turn just for hand flying characteristics. I'm going to use the auto thrust on this one. I don't use the auto thrust when I do this maneuver on the recurrent, but I'm going to use it for this one. We're going to try to maintain 3,000. We're going to keep heading, what are we at, 310? We'll call it 310. Let's maintain 3,200 feet. All right, we're going to try to maintain 3,200 feet. Steep turn to the left. Well, abort. That's my fault. My fault. I need to get the speed in here because I want to do it with auto thrust on. So let me get the auto thrust back up. That's right. We'll come to the right anyway. Let's come over here. Let's do this at, we normally do this at 250 knots. So we'll bug 250, auto thrust engage, autopilot's off. I'm just trying to keep track of where we are. All right. 3,200 feet. We're going to do one steep turn to the left. We're going to, for the sake of time, because we have to do this twice, we're just going to start the steep turn right now. That's close enough. So roll it in. I should be able to let go here, and I should maintain bank. It does. Beautiful. This isn't quite a steep turn maneuver. I should go all the way to 45. I should be able to let go. It comes down. Beautiful. So everything is working correctly. Now let me get control of it and actually commence the steep turn. We'll hold it here at about 3,000. 3,000 is set. I'm going to spin that up because it's going to keep yelling at us. All right, let's get to 3,000 feet. Keep that bank angle in there. And I'm doing this just to see how the airplane hand flies. Actually feels very good here in the steep turn. I feel like my stick inputs are very representative of the real thing. Got a little bit low there, correcting. Got a lot of bit low there. Well, that was a failed steep turn. That would be considered an unsat. So you got to be careful with auto thrust. That's why I don't use auto thrust when I do it for real, because you have to counteract those thrust changes. We'll just level at 360. That's going to be our downwind leg. Pretty good. Not bad. Hand flies pretty good. I actually like the way that feels in the turn. Wasn't the best steep turn by any means, but I like the way it felt. Let's rebuild our automation. Flight directors are coming back on. We're back to FD mode. Let's go ahead and descend and maintain 3,000. Let's start the getting vectored in for the first approach. I'm going to slow the aircraft down as well. Overall, not bad on the maneuvers. Protection, a little bit suspect. All right, let's go ahead and, we got to get flaps 1 out. There's speed checks, flaps 1. While we're making our way to Anvil, I wanted to look at the fix info page. Fix info is a big deal for me since the early days of X-Plane 11. So what I'm going to attempt to do is draw a fix info ring off of Anvil. A-N-V-I-L. Boom. Reference fix Anvil. Wonderful. I'm going to make a 10-mile radius ring around it. There's my ring. You can see it. Now, what I should be able to do is to click a beam, and this should create a PBD right here. We should have PBD 04 in this case, and we should have a waypoint that I would be able to nav to if I needed to, or set up a like a vertical crossing restriction, like if ATC is like, I need you to cross this side of Anvil at 2,500 feet. That's one way of doing it. You can also program that manually into the main FMS page by putting in Anvil / minus 25, whatever the instruction is. But an easy way to do it too is fix info. This is not a full implementation. Now, someone could correct me and say that the Thales does not allow that. I would be hard pressed to believe that. So someone that's familiar with Thales, let me know. But I'm pretty sure you should be able to get a PBD in fix info regardless of what software you got on there. So that's not quite accurate. One other thing, offsets. So we're not offset. We can't offset because we're not flying to anything. So this is a bad example. We'll have to do that on another one. I'll get to offsets on a different segment of the approach. We already looked at our fuel predict page, right? This is another problem that I have. So the secondary, because I want to save the secondary for later. But it's worth noting because we discovered it on our first flight. The secondary fuel prediction and initialization does not jive. They're not talking to each other. For instance, at 35,000 feet, and I have a long flight. I got 1,000 miles to go. I have 35,000 feet. What I should be able to do is copy my secondary or copy my active flight plan, and then I should be able to adjust the cruise altitude in the secondary init page, and I should get respective fuel burns at a different altitude. That's how I would determine if I want to go down to a lower altitude for a smoother ride, trading off altitude for a smoother ride but increase fuel burn, or vice versa. How much fuel can you save if we go up to 39 versus cruising here at 34? That is not fully implemented. So just things to note. I said I wasn't going to admit the things we discovered yesterday just to protect people's feelings. We discovered that yesterday, and it's worth noting. LS push button flashing, that's correct. 164 course line, beautiful. We got glide slope blue, low blue. Let's go flaps 2. We're slowing to 180 knots. Is the McDo font correct? I'm not going to comment on fonts because I have no idea, man. All right, so we're armed up, glide slope, low blue. This approach is going to be a standard approach. We're going to fly it down to minimums. I'm going to disengage the autopilot at minimums, then we're going to land the aircraft. You can see we've got the wind 250 at 15. Should be pretty standard. What else can we go over? What am I going to check my notes? We already went over the lateral offsets. Just to touch on the lateral offset. So right now we're on an inbound course, we don't have offset. But to my understanding is even if you're on the Thales or Honeywell, doesn't matter which one, you should be able to select offset from any left line select key. You just won't be able to select an entry and exit point. That is a Honeywell feature, to my understanding. So this aircraft only allows you to select an offset from LSK1. Just a notable mention. Again, everything that I'm saying and talking about right now, we're going to do the exact same thing and the exact same critique in the Fenix. All right, Locustar, localizers alive. Typical Microsoft Flight Simulator glide slope. We're not getting any glide slope info right now. That's just a Microsoft thing. It doesn't let you, I think outside of 15 miles, you won't get a glide slope indication. So nothing to do with FSlabs. That's a Microsoft Adobe problem. Sometimes you can get that glide slope out there, 30 miles plus. All right, there we go. Yeah, see, well, actually, this one's got it about 16.4. Now we got the glide slope indication. All right, we're going to slow to 180 knots. We're flaps 2. The approach is captured, waiting for the glide slope. We're going to do this missed approach. We're going to touch down, go missed, fly the missed, and then shoot an RNAV back in. We'll throw a train up on ND, We'll see how the aircraft handles straight up ILS approach. Beautiful Seattle down there, isn't it? Sorry, I'm being very selective with the chat messages because I'm trying to stay on topic, guys. I'm trying to stay on topic. The wife's not feeling good at home, and I don't want to have to do anything twice because I flubbed something up. So I'm trying to get everything locked in here. Would you guys be upset if I said the wings give me Tolless vibes, X-Plane 12? Just an observation. It's kind of remind me of Toll. They look familiar to me. I mean, they should. I had a P3D, but I just feel like every time I've done this flight, it's been in the Tolless or the Flight Factor, because we used to do this. We did this several times in X-Plane, comparing aircraft. Vise, how's it going, man? How do I like the sounds? Sounds are very personal. In my personal opinion, I don't love the sounds, man. I don't, but that's just my personal opinion. Some sounds are okay. Some sounds are just they just miss, you know? It's kind of a miss. Yes, wing flex is not, is bugged. There is no wing flex on either aircraft. Or, excuse me, either wing. Glide slope's alive. Yeah, we did this a few times for Recurrent, Team Vodka, absolutely. And actually, I got Recurrent coming up here in a month, so this is actually good practice. Glide slope star. All right, we're going to set 2,000 for the go-around. 2,000 is set for the go-around altitude. We're going to come down to 2,000 feet above touchdown, so we'll call it 2,600. Touchdown zone is 459, so let's call it 500. 2,500 MSL is when we're going to manage the speed and configure for landing. VAP is 141. Speeds and environmentals are set. (2,500 feet MSL, manage speed, gear down, spoilers arm, flaps 3. I keep thinking my dog is howling when I hear that sound. I don't know what that sound is. Maybe there's some hydraulic configuration that does that sometimes. I'm sure there is. It's Airbus. But daggone, every time I hear that, I think it's my beagle howling in his sleep. VFE next minus 10 flaps full. Landing checklist. Alright, again, not touching the controls. This is not a real world tutorial. Of course, you would shadow the controls. I'm sure I'll get that comment. But I'm going to let the airplane do what the airplane things. We're going down to minimums. I keep saying 200. We're going down to minimums, and then I will take control of the aircraft and do a touch and go. Attempted. Auto brakes off. A landing checklist. Cabin crew advised auto thrust is speed. Auto brakes off. ECAM memo. Landing all green. Landing checklist is complete. Aircraft's on final. We'll keep an eye on the pitch as well. Aircraft, the 321 comes in a little bit flat. .57, 58 on the thrust. .1,000 feet. We're stable, clear to land. No, actually, we're below 1,000. It's just an RE. All right, so I'm going to shadow the controls here to get ready to take over at minimums.
.500. .100 above. Minimum.
Autopilot's off. Take her down, we'll hand fly.
Sync rate.
Oh.
40, 30, 20, retard, 10, retard.
Oh, come on. Oh, you see that yaw? There's that yaw again. Here we go. Go around flaps. Flaps 3. Takeoff config is our normal. Positive rate. Gear up. Man, Toga, SRS. Go around track. Nav. 1,000 to level off. It's a quick one here. This is why they do this. Used to do this in training. It's real quick. Speed out star. 1,000 to go. There is very little ground control there in the land. Like the flare, everything felt good in the flare, and then we touch down and we get that immediate yaw to the left. Don't know what that's all about. We definitely floated it for a little bit. I was trying to get a nice greaser. Just for you, Zach. All right, there's F-speed, flaps 1. We're going to fly the published mist. S-speed, flap 0. Speed out. All right, we're going to fly out to Milt for the hold. We're going to climb and maintain 4,000. Going to maintain 4,000. We need 230 and let's call it 240 in the hold. All right, thrust climb, open climb, 4,000 is blue. We're staying naving to Milt. Now we're going to set up for the RNAV, Yankee. So arrival, RNAV, Yankee, runway 34 center, no star, no via. We can insert that. RNAV Yankee, speed alt star, get rid of the train on ND. A couple extra lines here. These are normal, except we have a few more lines than anticipated. We got a really long entry there. That's all right. And we're going to expect it off of, we can clean this up. We could take Lori away. We'll insert that. Looks good. All right, 4,000 feet, out star. We're leveling. We'll get rid of the LS push buttons. We're in selected speed. Let's activate and confirm the approach phase. RNAV 34 center Yankee. Vertical dev is already up. That looks good. Did I not pin that one? RNAV 34 center Yankee. RNAV 34 center Yankee. I don't know if it's my monitor, but I find it fuzzy. 344, 2400 at Tiffy. We're doing the LNAV VNAV min of 839. 839 on the barrow is set. All right. I want to see if this is going to go way out here in the, or if it's going to, well, I just kind of see what kind of hold entry this is. All right, for coming back around, we're going to be manual brakes. Everything else looks good. Normally I'd kill the lights here, but we're talking ATC, but we're not talking ATC, so we'll eat that. Send departure, American 357 entering the hold. Over Milt 4,000 feet. We'll let you know when we're ready for the RNAV 34 center. Roger that. Advise when you're ready. Now, this is going to trigger a lot of people, but I'm going to do it again anyway because it's not correct. So, something that I discovered, we want to talk about nitpicking and being niche, then I'm going to be nitpicky and niche for every airplane that we're going to fly today. So, we have a slight fuel imbalance here of 100 pounds. If you watched the stream yesterday, you know where I'm getting at. Let's go ahead and do a minimum fuel transfer. Now, we actually do this during our recurrent just because they want to see us go to the QRH and execute the procedure. There's no reason to do a fuel balance here when you're 100 pounds. You don't have to do any fuel balancing until you actually get an ECAM. But I'm going to show you that we're missing some stuff here. So, fuel balance procedure, ignition mode to ignition start, crossfeed open. All right, once the crossfeed is open, we're going to select the low tank pumps off. Left tank 1 and 2 off. We should get a ding here saying ding. There we go. Wow, it's working this time. Good. It did not work yesterday. So we got left tank, low pressure, gravity feed only. So, definitely much improved. That's proper. We did not get the ECAM yesterday. I don't know if it's just, maybe it depends on your load-in, but beautiful. We're working, moving the fuel. Just basic ECAM handling here. As soon as it gets down to, there's 50, 4250, 4210, 4240, 4230, close enough, all right. Tank pumps on, crossfeed closed, ignition back to norm. Wonderful. We're going to make this turn here, and then we'll set up for the, we'll go inbound direct to and shoot the approach inbound. Turning in the hold, and we'll go inbound on this. Why do you turn ignition on? Because it's free. And it's in the procedure. Kind of an interesting... We did a teardrop here. Looks right to me. It just calculated outbound leg, inbound leg. Wonderful. So now let's clear this. Let's go direct TIFFs. Insert, exiting the hold. And once we're established inbound, we'll redirect it to straighten out the line. We'll arm the approach. It's actually good enough, don't need to redirect it. So arm the approach. Final, app nav is blue. We got the vertical deviation. Looking good. Maintain 240 here for a little bit as we exit the hold and head back in. How does the hand flying feel? Felipe C. It's not bad, man. So, like, I'm other than the landing phase. Hand flying did our steep turns. I was very happy with it. I really have nothing to say negative about how it feels hand flying. So, I think it's just fine. Yeah, it's just Shakovic. It's just the ground. It's like it's a magnet. You're magnetized to the ground, and the way the nose wheel, man, those mains touch, you cannot fly the nose wheel down. It's just like, and then there's a yaw. As soon as the nose comes down, it's like it's a sharp yaw to the opposite side of the wind direction. It appears because we got a crosswind from the left. We'll see if it happens. This will be interesting because we're going to be landing same runway, opposite direction. So we'll see if we get the yaw to the right or to the left or no yaw at all. We'll find out here pretty soon. All right, inbound TIFFs. Let's go ahead and start slowing down with 10 out. Let's go ahead and extend flaps 1. .330 driver said steep pitch down moment shouldn't be happening while hand flying. Well, 330 driver's never flown an A320, so I wouldn't take his word for it. Now, what he may be referring to is something happening when you're getting into slow speed protection. I'm not sure. The point of the steep turn is that you understand how the fly-by-wire works on the 320, because once you go past 60, once you go past 45, 37? So I've drawn a blank on the angle of bank. I think it's 37 degrees. The pitch trim is inhibited. So you actually have to force the nose up. 33 degrees angle of bank. Thank you. After you go past 33 degrees angle of bank, the pitch trim is going to be inhibited. So that's why you do the steep turn maneuver, because the examiner wants to understand that once you go past that roll, you will now have to control pitch. Now, the problem is when you have the auto thrust on and you're trying to control pitch in a steep turn, you're killing that horizontal component of lift. When that thrust starts to make adjustments, now you have to counteract for the thrust adjustments as well. That's why in my personal technique, I don't use auto thrust when I do steep turns. But I just thought it was a good demonstration to use it on there. And I mean, like I said, steep turns, I thought handled just fine. I got no problems with the way the airplane flew the steep turns at all, other than just me being sloppy on it. All right, so we're final lap inbound. Missed approach altitude will just maintain 4,000 feet. Missed approach altitude is now white. I don't know the logic behind that, why it's white on a non-precision for the missed approach altitude. But I'm not going to say that's wrong or right, because I don't know. I'll just tell you, in our aircraft, missed approach altitude is either always white or it's always blue. But that's our aircraft, so it's not everyone else's. All right, we're flaps 2, 180. The touchdown zone elevation is 387, call it 400 feet, so at 2,400 feet. 2,400 MSL. I'm seeing the aircraft, it's kind of pitching up and down. You see that? Maybe that's what you're referring to. Is that what you're referring to? I am seeing a little bit of oscillation. I thought you were speaking to the steep turn specifically. Either way, I still stand by the steep turn comments. It's you have to pitch up in a steep turn. That's the point. All right, there's 2,400 MSL, managed speed, gear down, spoilers arm, flaps 3. Who wants to hear the cats fight? I don't know what that is. My goodness. Flaps full. Could the auto brakes be causing yaw? Nope, I got no auto brakes on Magnum PI. We're going to use auto brakes here on the next approach, on the final approach. All right, so final lap, missed approach altitude, 4,000 white. Aircraft's configured. We got LDEV on this aircraft. That's just fine. VAP is 140. Again, I will disengage the autopilot at minimums, and I will do another manual landing just to get a feel. This time we got a 15-knot crosswind from the left. Just a slight tailwind component on that as well. So this is where you get a nice slammer if you're not careful. American had a compressor stall to Las Vegas this morning, and the news is going absolutely bonkers. Uh-oh. No, typical media and aviation, man. It's wild. So we are getting some oscillations here. Let's just keep an eye on it.
1,000.
We're doing good. We're about an hour and 10 minutes into the stream. We only have one more test after this, and then we'll do everything in the Fenix. We chip, chop, chip. All right, getting ready to take over once we hit minimums.
100 above.
I'm going to turn auto thrust off on this one because I feel like the auto thrust is a little over aggressive and it might
minimum
destabilize you. All right, so autopilot's coming off. Flight director's coming off.
500.
Give me the bird. I have to disengage the auto thrust by going to idle because my button's not bound. Not a great technique. And it really likes to sink. Might just be Seattle.
100. 50, 40, 30, 20, retard, 10.
Spoilers. Oh shoot, I triggered reverse. Ah, that's just a bad habit. Nope.
Max braking.
That's on me. Going around, I forgot we got one more approach to do. Man, Toga, SRS, go around track. You never ever go around after selecting reverse. That's just, I thought we were done on that. No sharp yaw on that one. That one felt better as far as yaw is concerned. That one definitely felt better on that one. No yaw. I don't know why it's... really have to increase detents on this one. Thrust climb, open climb, nav, going up to 4,000 feet. After takeoff checklist, autopilot 1's coming on, F speed, flaps 1. VLS shoots up. The nose gear is virtually impossible to hold off. I don't know why that is. We'll actually, we'll make this 3,000 speed out star. All right, last test is going to be the autoland. Flap 0. Alright, getting ready to enter over Anvil. Alright, so secondary, we have an ILS in the secondary, right? So we're going to activate secondary, initialize weights. What the heck? I don't know why I did that. It should not do that. That's the point of having your secondary. So secondary, we've initialized it. We got 1/6 center. Hold on, I got to initial. That wouldn't happen. So weights have been reinitialized. Don't know why I dumped our weights on that one. 1/6 center, perf, RadNav. Why am I not getting RadNav data? Get our LS push buttons on. Went to heading mode. That's fine. Let's go ahead and select heading. Went to heading mode because we got rid of the hold, so that's correct. Now here we're going to vector ourselves back around. Why am I not getting a lope freak? ILS 1/6 center is selected. It's reselected. Or I might have to hard tune it. So we'll hard tune our ILS Pro Shark. That shouldn't happen. We should activate secondary bandit. I mean, that's a big plus to having secondary flight plan already good to go. So we're going to do the ILS 1/6 center Cat 2, Cat 3 chart. 111.7 ISZI. So let's hard tune it. ISZI. 111.7, both sides hard tuned. Okay, so that's been hard tuned, and I'm going to assume that we're going to have to shoot our own line. We know it's 344. So boom, and select heading again. All right, we're going to start turning around. I'm going to slow to 180 so we don't get too far out. TJ, welcome to Private Pod, man. Glad to have you on board. Thanks for the support, dude. It's not a super interactive stream today because I'm staying busy. Flaps 1 coming out. Last couple things we need to set up for our perf. We're going to reactivate, confirm the approach phase. And this time we're going to put no DH in the radio min. So ILS 1/6 center, no DH is set. We're setting up for a Cat 3 auto land on 1/6 center on a Cat 3 runway. So spinner all the way around. Keep slowing to 180. Help us with our radius of turn here. All the way around. Now, worth noting, if you guys get your mini FCU to work without Mobi Flight, let me know, because I don't use Mobi Flight. I just use a regular mini FCU. I can't get it to work with the FSlabs, but maybe you have to have mini FCU. Or excuse me, maybe you have to have Mobi Flight, because I can't get it to sync up. That's why we got the in-op sticker there on the FCU. All right, come all the way around. Approach AP2. We'll see if she does a smart loc capture. She does. Loc star. That's a smart loc capture. We're waiting for our vertical to come in here. That's just a Microsoft theme. So we got Cat 3 dual, autopilot 1+2. We're going to select auto brakes low. Auto brakes low. 180 flaps 2. We're inbound for the autoland. Last one. Mini FC will probably need to release an update. Okay. Yeah, they probably will, right? There's features in there that certainly were not in there until FSlabs. What do you mean? Oh, you guys are talking. Sorry. Hey, at least everyone's being civil today so far. That's good. Hey, Canadian, what's going on, man? That landing was sweet, dude. Alright, so full disclosure on this approach, we're going to do the same for both aircraft. I'm not going to touch anything. It's either going to auto land or it's not. There's nothing saying it shouldn't. We're on a Cat 3 approved runway. We're all set up for the Cat 3. We've hard-tuned ISZI. And everything checks out. There's the Loke. As civil as flight simmers can be. Agreed. There's like a fade in when you go outside view, huh? Wait, are the wings flexing? No. Nah, they're not. I thought the wings might have been flexing. They're not. All right, here comes the glide slope. I'll tell you what, let's do the recording for this one as well. Let's record this. Steven, what's up, my mate? Alright, so I will start the recording once we get in here a little bit. There's glide slope star, go on altitude set 3000 blue now. Let me make sure I'm not missing anything. We've done all that. Oh. Making it amber. What's the one thing I forgot to do? If I made that negative time, this should turn amber. But it doesn't. So, again, we're not gonna, no need to necessarily beat a dead horse, but I'm just going over my notes. Fuel is whacked out on this airplane. Fuel predict page, fuel burns, all, something's bugged. All right, manage speed, gear down. This is the last one. Spoilers armed. Flaps 3. What? Cat sound. All right, last one. Here we go. Flaps full. Landing checklist. Cabin crew advised auto thrust speed. Auto brakes low. Brake low indicated in FMA column 1. That is correct. Landing all green. Landing checklist is complete. 320 cam is up. I am not going to touch anything. My hands are not touching anything. She's either going to land on the runway or she's not. 15 knot crosswind. Nothing she can't handle. A little bit of a quartering headwind-ish. Mostly crosswind though. You weren't kidding. My cat just turned to look for the cat sound. So on that first ILS, it didn't give me confidence because it seemed like it struggled tracking the Loke and slope, but we'll see. All right, 3000 TA only, that's correct, looking good. There's our auto brake low ECAM, landing inhibit through 750 R8, that looks good. Last thing we're looking for now is a land green.
500.
Loke is already deviating a little bit. Winds are 14 knots. Land green.
One hundred. 50, 40,
Flare.
30, 20, 10, retard.
Set max reverse. Max braking.
Reverse green. That is a unsuccessful autoland. Alright, I'm going to press the pedal. We should disconnect the autopilot by pressing on the rudder pedal. I'm pressing on the rudder pedal. I'm not disconnecting. Look, I'm full left rudder pedal. That should disconnect. And then you'd get an autopilot fail. Manual disconnect. Alright, there we go. So, I'd give that an F. That was an unsuccessful autoland. Now, it also told me that it wasn't going to autoland, but I said I wasn't going to touch it. So, I don't know what caused that. If you think it's the airport, we're going to try it right now in the Fenix. So, let's go ahead and... anything else we need to check? We did our approaches. We talked about all that. All right. Very well done. Let's go ahead and end it. And reset to the Fenix. So, end flight. We're going right into the Fenix, same spot. We need to check the passengers' backs. Oh, I didn't record. I never hit record. Dang it. All right, well, we don't need to record it. That would not be very good. All right, 321 Fenix. IE Sharklets. Again, remember, we're not comparing Neo to CEO. We're just going to do the same quick setup. Boom. Here we go. Do it in the default 321. So, I'm not going to make any rating numbers, but I think we gave it a full shakedown. And we'll see if anything happens that's not supposed to happen in the Fenix or vice versa. Load her up. Canadian says I'm medevac standby.
Tower. FNX Foxtrot Sierra 2024 ready at runway 16 left.
All right,
Departing
let's let
straight
the
out.
airplane load in. We're going to wind the time back to exactly what it was. We blasted off at 6 a.m. local time, so same exact time of day. Bring back mouse wheel scroll, Microsoft. All right, wind layer should be the same. 250 at 1.5, 250 at 1.8 gust. Beautiful. It's actually, they were both 1.5, weren't they? So 1.5. 250 at 1.5, 250 at 1.5. Beautiful. All right, quick load. Let's go. Boot her up. The UI looks horrendous in 2024. It does, dude. The UI in Microsoft from the get-go has been terrible, in my opinion. So here she boots up. It's going to go through its same fan test, all that good stuff. I tried Autoland yesterday in the King Air. The FO almost sent us into the grass. Nice. Xbox ruining everything. I don't know. I don't know why, but it's not awesome. All right, system's coming to life in no particular order. Let's just get the airplane up and running. Ground control. CVR test. It's not going to work because oh, there goes. Now the FCOC goes on. You hear that? That's cool. But we all know that works. We know all this stuff works. We're just doing our quick setup situation here. We're going going to skip all the fire tests because you guys have seen me do it countless times. Flight control side stick fault, that's normal for me in this airplane. That's supposed to be going away. Alright, so FMGC initialize. Let's do the same exact box. Seattle, Seattle. And before I do that, let's do the loading of it right here. So weight and balance. We're going to load up roughly about the same weights, right? So there we did 12,000 pounds of fuel. Planned gross weight 167. That's right there in the ballpark. Apply and load aircraft. Instant. Dismiss. All right. 357. We're going to go 5,000. Temperature 5 cost index is 55. It's fine. Doesn't matter. IRS init, align on ref, speed you up, boom, here we go. So Seattle, departure, 16, wrong runway, erase. Seattle, departure, 16 left. Arab 6, insert. Arrival, Seattle, 16 center. No star, ILS, insert that. Secondary, initialize, Seattle to Seattle. I'll be curious to see if this dumps our weights. I don't know why that it shouldn't dump your weights when you activate the secondary. So we'll have to double check when we get to that point. We'll go ahead and put secondary 16 center approach, secondary perf data. We'll get that in there as well. 630 on the mins, 250 at 15, temperature 15, altimeter 299er2, done. Beautiful progress page. Put you in the prog page here. Init B. We'll send our weights to the McDo. Send to McDo. Wonderful. 140, 154 fuel 13 block. It's loading up the time. Okay, now first test is we're going to do the same testing situation we did with the FSlabs, right? So we're going to look at the air conditioning and flow. So right now, 72-degree air. We got nothing coming in or out of the cabin. It's hot. Let's connect PCA air. With PCA air connected, we should see a drop in the temperature, which we are. We'll let it stabilize. Once it's stabilized, we'll turn the cabin fans off. We'll see if we get any fluctuation. I'm going to EMER cancel that one. Well, so we don't see it anymore. All right. Are we stabilized? We're stabilizing about 70 degrees with PCA air. 69-ish. All right, cool. So that's about accurate. I mean, this PCA cart is definitely not as good as the FSlabs one. Doesn't mean it's inaccurate. I just said that it varies greatly on which air cart you get. So let's go ahead and turn off the cabin fans. Reduce the flow. Do we get any movement? Fans are off. 68. I'm actually surprised it's not moving more than that. Let's turn them back on. 69. So it's trying. There's definitely something going on there. So it's definitely trying. I wonder if it has to do with this particular environmental condition. We've actually done this before where it drops more than just 1 degree, but that is an accurate representation of what would happen. Now, I would expect a few more degrees. I would expect cabin fan off here with the PCA air, probably drop it 2 or 3 degrees at least, but we'll see. We'll just leave it as is. All right, with that set, that's our first test. Let's come down to the box. What are we going to look at next? We're going to look at engine start for the APU. Oh, try with 30 or more. Yeah, you know what it is? That the OAT is probably affecting it. It takes the OAT into account, Bruno. But I'm not going to mess with it right now just because I want to keep everything exactly the same. All right, we're going to keep everything exactly the same. Let's boot up the APU. I'll watch the APU start sequence here on the Fenix. because we did that before when it was hot in Phoenix, and remember it dropped like 7 or 8 degrees. So we know it's simulated. Oh gosh, I never reset my hardware. There we go. See the flaps are out, all that. There we go. That's me. I gotta reset my hardware after our landing. It's so annoying. I don't know why it does that, man. All right, we got an Avail light on the APU. That's coming up there. Let's go ahead and disconnect PCA Air. With that disconnected, we got 3 minutes left to alignment. So, with 3 minutes left to alignment, let's mess with some of the stuff on the ground here for fuel. So initially, right now, we've got no alternates. We've got a none. And coming back to Seattle, if I look at the fuel predict page, we've got 8,000 extra, no alternate, pretty standard. Let's throw an alternate of Portland in there, KPDX, alternate fuel predict page. That's just going to be the side state there. There must be something going on right now. Maybe I need to, I don't know what's going on with that. But you can see, we got Seattle, Portland. We've got our fuel, our time, and estimated fuel on board. That's what I would expect to see. So I also have erroneous alternate fuel numbers here, which I don't, this is something that's been of curiosity to me. I don't know where it gets those erroneous fuel numbers from, the negative numbers. So that's also incorrect. But at least we have something a little bit more than what we had in the other one. Now, go back to initialization. Again, in our boxes, we cannot delete this. So without hitting the clear key, the only way we can get rid of it is by pressing the none key. So when I use clear, it moves it to none. I don't know if that's right or wrong for Thales, Thales, whatever you want to call it, because our boxes, the only way to get rid of the alternate in the Honeywell is to actually type none. And if I put none in there, you actually see it gives us the same error code as the FSlabs, not in database. So very much could just be an operator thing. But at least we can get rid of the alternate. You can see the alternate is gone at the time, and the EFB fuel is gone for the alternate. So both boxes, when it comes to that fuel predict page, in my initial look, they are both slightly inaccurate, but the Fenix is slightly more accurate because at least you get the alternate fuel burn and everything in there. So we thought I'd point that out. Remember, we're going to just call it out as it is on both of them. So we got 1 minute till the alignment, then we'll start engines. So it'll yell at us. We'll set top altitude 5,000. Oh, let me boot up my mini FCU. We'll take the NOP sticker off. So I'll get my mini FCU working. All right, mini FCU is up and running. Yes, it is. 4,000, what do we say? 5,000 on the initial climb out. All right, everything's come to life. Okay, everything's coming to a line. Beautiful. Let's go ahead and disconnect external power. We're going to turn on the APU bleed. We'll disconnect chocks and cones. We'll disconnect the GPU. And we're going to do the manual engine start on this as well. After we calculate some speeds here. So let's go to departure perf. We got to put in Seattle real quick. 16 left. Sync the final load sheet, and what is it going to give us with no Toga? We're going to calculate, and then we're going to mess with the Toga like we did before, right? So we'll send this to the McDo for our speeds. We'll come back to this here in just a moment. Flight control side stick fault. What? You know what? I might have the wrong profile on. We'll see. I'll be able to tell after engine start. That might be what it is. It might be the wrong profile for this livery, because I forget it's livery dependent. All right. So where was I? Oh yeah, manual engine start. Here we go. Manual engine start. We're going to monitor the bleed progress. So engine mode to ignition start. We got bleed pressure. Man start number 1. It's on. We'll monitor. fuel. Ignition A and B, that's correct. Manual start, you get both ignitions. Would also want to start the timer on that. I'm going to have to check my settings. I think I might have the wrong side stick profile on for this livery. Now obviously start times are going to be way different than the CFM LEAP, so we're not looking at that. We're just kind of looking at bleed logic. AB ignition goes away, bleed valve closed, and engine boots up wonderfully. Got our flex TO. We're going to come back to this. There's a bus transfer. All right, we got a good engine start. Real quick, bear with me. Let me check my side stick profile, because if I don't, it may keep beeping at us. So this right here is why I do not recommend coming to Sim Update 2 Microsoft 2024, because look how long it takes to try and change something. I'm literally just trying to look at which profile is selected, and it's going to take a minute to do this. This is why if you're looking to get on 2024, I say wait till Sim Update 3 comes. So now I'm going, this is my Moza. Waiting, waiting, waiting. Imagine trying to bind all your controls with this. This will rack your brain. No, it's the right profile. Okay. Team Vodka's high profile, so it's the right profile. All right, we got we got one good start. Well, we all know the crossbleed works on the Fenix, right? But do we want to see it? So let's go ahead and we'll shut that. We'll open this. We will do crossbleed engine start. Now, this is not a Neo, so we actually need to increase bleed pressure. So on this aircraft, we'll increase the EPR. And now we can start engine 2 on the crossbleed. Adjusting bleed pressure to maintain enough pressure for engine start. This is just a different procedure because we got a different aircraft. That's a bug. That's been happening for a while. Pressurization freaks out when you do these crossbleed starts. You get a pack overheat too. That's just a Fenix bug. Something incorrect. I'll be curious to see what happens with the BFU if that goes away, because that pressurization thing, that's been there since what, day 1 on 2024? Just motoring. I really hope they bring back the hangar mod. Love to see my play in the hangar. You know, I did like the hangar mod, Crazy Frank. I did. I did like looking at the airplane in the hangar. All right, crossbleed, or excuse me, no, we're still using bleed pressure here. We'll see. She takes over. All right, now the bleed valve is closed. Now we can go ahead and idle number 1 if you need to. There's the avail light, got a good start, going back to normal. RMU, flaps are going to be position 2. All right, now let's look at our flex takeoff number. So just like we did in the FSlabs, we're going to look at our takeoff thrust. So right now we've got a flex set of 54, expecting 1.45 EPR on departure. If I go to perf and I clear this out, I should get a greater estimated EPR for takeoff. Clear this out, 1.62 Toga thrust. So you see how we're actually changing the predicted thrust for takeoff. So Toga thrust is 1.62. If we did something crazy, 75 flex temp, it's going back down to 1.44. So that's a proper simulation there. That's something that's not working in the other aircraft. Oops, I tried to delete the wrong one there. But we are going to Toga, just like we did in the FSlabs. Flaps 2 up 0.3 on the trim. And let's get the company messages out of the way. Did I miss anything that we did on the ground in the labs that we didn't do here? I don't think I did. Let's go ahead and accept both of these load sheets. Get rid of the messages. Come on, man. We'll accept both those. Wonderful. All right, cool. As we get ready for blast off, we'll go auto, 1, auto, TARA. That's good. We'll hard the armrest so we can see what we're doing. And, oh, battery test. Well, I already disconnected. We know the battery test. So the battery test on the Fenix, it fails the initial one. But it will always, it actually works when you charge it and you do it again before pushback. I just haven't, we already disconnected the GPU. So if you first load into your Fenix cold and dark and you do the battery test, it will fail. You need to put the ground power on and then test after like 20 minutes or so. All right, APU can come off, man start switches are closed. We got 2 good engine starts. Fuel is good, ground spoilers arm, flaps trim are set. Flight controls are fine. Looking at my yoke, everything is fine there. Okay. All right. Let's go. Oh, before we go blasting off, let's use the same thing. EFB for internal EFBs only. I'm not going to use the third-party EFBs. Seattle approaches. We'll pin all these up. So we need the ILS 16 center. We need the ILS 16 center Cat 3. There's no difference other than visibility stuff. And then we need the RNAV 34 center Yankee. RNAV Yankee 16. RNAV Zulu. Did we do the RNAV Zulu or Yankee? I thought we did the Yankee. There it is. RNAV Yankee 34 center. All right. Those are all the charts we need. We're RNAVing to Harrop. Did I leave the crossbleed? I did. Crossbleed closed. Thank you. All right. Brakes release. Nose forward on the stick. Let's get our lights. We'll do the takeoff config test. We have a clean ECAM. Keep everything the same. Get all these on. Oops. Get you on. Takeoff config text. Auto brakes Mac. Boom. And cabin. We're not going to wait for them. So here we go. Let's go. Nose forward on the stick. .05 to the Toga. Man Toga, SRS runway, auto thrust blue. Using left rudder to keep the airplane on the center line. 80 knots, thrusting up. There's a cabin call. 100 knots. V1, rotate. Positive rate, gear up, navin, fly with. Hopefully they were seated. Autopilot 1's engaged. Lever climb. Thrust climb climb. Auto thrust. Flaps 1. Speed checks. Flaps 1. Alright, we're going to import a hold over Richer once we hit the Kayob waypoint. Here comes Kayob, Richer, hold, computed, insert. We got our hold drawn out there, looking good. Flap 0, after takeoff checklist, climbing to 5 thou. We do not have any miscellaneous lines. Hold is set, we're looking good. We'll minimize the speed. We'll go 240 here for the hold entry. And let's go into an open climb. Not that it makes a difference. With thrust climb, open climb 5,000. Looking good. Mary backward somersaulted all the way back to the aft galley because she wasn't strapped in. Oh no. I'm going to hear about that post-flight report. All right, speed alt star. We'll enter the hold at richer. We'll break off into heading mode, do a couple of normal speed protection tests. Same thing. Jack M, thanks for the support, man. Thanks for side-by-side comparison. Look, man, this is only, I mean, we're not even getting into the weeds of it yet. Golly. You know what? Every time I click on my other monitor, I get that. That's got to be related. It's got to be related. But thank you, Jack M. Appreciate the support, man. All right, set manage speed. All right, enter destination data, set manage speed because it wants to slow to manage speed. That's fine. Let's go to the next phase. While we're waiting to enter the hold, let's do the same exact thing. 29902, temperature 15, winds 250 at 15. Barrel bins 630 are set. Perf data has been set. As soon as we enter the turn, I will use heading mode to exit the hold. We'll clean up the box and do our protection test. Seattle Center, Phoenix 357 over Richer 5000 entering the hold. Fuel on board 11.8. All right, Phoenix holds flawlessly, spoiler alert. We've had the Phoenix out for a long enough time now that we know it holds good, so we're gonna, for the sake of time, I'm gonna pull heading 320 right there. 320 is set. Now let's clean up the box. So I want to clean everything up. I want to go direct. I want to shoot a line off Anvil. It's got radial 345 inbound for me. Select, pull, re-pull the heading, and now we're set. Flawless execution. Looking good. So really the only difference that I'm noticing between the two airplanes on that particular phase is the FSlabs does not seem to pre-populate that inbound course. I don't know if that's accurate or inaccurate. All I can tell you is on our aircraft, it's always populated. It's always there for us to, we don't have to look it up is what I'm trying to say. So the way that the Phoenix has it shown is what I'm used to. I do not know if that's an option somewhere in the software. Okay, first test is speed test, right? We're going to select 140 knots. Autopilot's engaged, auto thrust is engaged. 140 selected. Again, we should see aircraft stabilized at VLS. There's our N1s coming up. Not letting it drop below VLS. Pretty good to me. All right, this is the next test. We're going to go idle thrust. Autopilot still engaged. This is where the FSlabs failed this test. It would not maintain altitude. The real aircraft should maintain 5,000 feet. Upon reaching the Alpha Prot Tiger tail, we should get an autopilot disconnect. We're holding 5,000 feet. Here comes V Alpha Prot. Autopilot off. There it is. That's correct. Now the aircraft is going to inhibit the pitch trim. It's not going to let it get any slower. Wonderful. That's how it should work. Now, if I was a 250-hour pilot, I pull full aft. At this point, we should potentially, you might trigger out the floor here, or you might lock you out at V Alpha Max. And there it is. So it wasn't going to let us go below V Alpha Max, which is the red line. Alpha floor is activated. Here comes the thrust. I'm going to spin the altitude up so we don't have to listen to it. Up we go. Alpha floor. Airplane's not going to let me stall it. All right. I'm going to now recover. My auto thrust instinctive disconnect push button is not bound. Again, that's why I'm disconnecting the auto thrust with the idle detent. Not recommended. Don't do that. You're not a real pilot. All right. So we're back. 5,000 feet. Very successful. We'll do the same reversionary test here. Get our data back. We're in alternate law. Tiger tail should be gone. I'm bringing the power back. We'll get rid of the flight directors. We don't need that. I'm going to pitch 10 degrees. Cabin's freaking out. We've got alternate law. Prot lost. Protection is lost right there. That looks good. So in this configuration, you could stall the airplane. You should get a stall. So to expedite, I'm just going to make sure we're at idle. There's the stall. There's the master warning. Recover from the stall. We'll lower the nose. Stand up the thrust levers. Don't need to be over aggressive.
Stall.
Careful for that secondary stall. Restabilize. Not bad. So again, just like the FSlabs, no issue there. We're skipping the direct law test with the gear down. I did test it. They both work. You've seen it on this channel. Rebuilding our automation here. Let's get our switching panels back. Let's get our flight directors back on. Let's get the auto thrust back on into the detent. Select 250 knots. Autopilot 1 is engaged. Let's turn right, heading 360. And let's descend now. 4,000. We're at 6. Let's go down. All right, thrust idle open descent. We're in heading mode. If I go 360, it might get too close to triggering the 2 waypoints. So let's just make it 350. And 6,000 is good enough for me. So here we are, 6,000 feet. Autopilot's coming off. I have control. Flight director's off, bird on. We're going to do the same steep turn here, albeit we're at 6,000 feet. Again, this is just a feel test. How's it going to feel? So auto thrust is on. For me, don't recommend it. Oop, stutter there. Let's go ahead and roll in. To the left. If I let go of the stick, maintains just fine. Increase past 33 degrees. We've got to increase that pitch attitude to maintain 6,000 feet. That's what I'm talking about. See how the auto thrust is slightly trying to work there? You gotta kind of combat that. There's 6,000. Once you get it locked in, you're locked in. Feels very good, feels very believable. My initial instinct is I think I'm doing a better steep turn because I had one practice steep turn with the FSlabs. I really can't tell a noticeable difference in side stick input or movement here in the steep turn. I think they both feel very believable. And I'm going to stop this early because we're going to go towards Anvil. So we're going to stop the steep turn there. Very believable. No qualms about it. 6,000. Let's descend to 3,000 open descent. The flight director is coming back on now. So no problems with that at all. I liked it. It felt just as good as the FSlabs. They both felt good, to be honest with you. So passes the test. Okay, as we start to head towards Anvil, we're going to look at our fuel. We're going to see if we can make it turn amber. So right now we got 11.7. What I need to do is I need to get some erroneous numbers in here. Let's put Portland as the alternate. And then I'm going to go to the fuel predict page. And I'm going to say we need, let's say we need 8,000 alternate, and let's say 9,000 final. I'm trying to get this negative. So you see that negative? We get amber fuel. That is correct. Our EFB is now amber. That is a correct representation of the fuel. So if I delete this and delete this, go back to default values, get 9.5. Once it recalculates, it should get rid of the amber fuel. We'll keep an eye on it. I'm also going to delete the alternate. I don't know if that is how it works on the tails or not, but at least we can get rid of the alternate. So Heading bug coming over, flaps 1. This should go white. If it doesn't go white, then this is also incorrect. Because right now, I've reset. We've got 9.5 extra. There's no need for this to be amber. So it appears that they both seem to be a little bit inaccurate. Because amber should populate, which FSlabs did not. Once I get rid of it, the amber should go away. So we'll keep an eye on it. And we'll set up for the approach. I need a little bit of speed brake action here. Flaps 2 help us come down here. Look at that VLS come up and bite us. Flaps 2, 180 should start to come down now. Speed brakes out, down we go. Pilot Stanley, it's going to vary on what your SOP is. Some people have 45. I actually changed this. So whatever, so let's just say Stanley, let's say my dispatch was 2.2. This is what I do real world. I got 4 kids. I'm going to add 400 pounds to that. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to make this 2.6. Whatever my dispatch fuel is, that's my feel-good fuel. I got 4 kids, 100 pounds for each of them. This is just a calculator. Garbage in, garbage out. This really won't affect anything. It's literally just to help you calculate math, or help you calculate fuel numbers by doing the math for you. So you can FUB these. You'll have, you know, the dispatch alternate maybe more on the paperwork, so then you'd want to put that in there. You use this page to also determine your bingo fuel. But again, it's just a calculator. It's all garbage in, garbage out. If you put in the wrong number, it doesn't know. It'll give you a bad number in the output. So it's just a tool. You need to pass a waypoint for it to recalculate. Oh, really? Okay. Well, let's then we will try that. We're going to try it. We'll see. So Smash says you need to pass a waypoint for it to recalculate. Well, actually, I don't know. Now it's back to white, so that's correct. Let's arm the approach. Glide slope blue, lope blue. We got the ILS flashing. That's also correct. Seen both in the FSlabs and now the Fenix. Wonderful. Speed brake still extended. That's on me. Don't tell 330 driver he's going to say, how's this guy a real pilot? He'll let the speed brake out. I saw him in the chat earlier. You still here, man? Thought I saw his name. All right, we're 180, glide slope blue, lope blue. Our box resequenced, that's good. Oh, fix info page. Real quick, let's try it. Let's go to fix info. I'm right at Anvil. Let's do SODO. S-O, I don't know if this will work actually on the fix. Let's see. SODO, let's say 3 miles radius. There it is. Press it again. Boom. Insert. Oh, I hit the... There we go. PBD 0 to 1. There it is. Insert. Boom. So I just added. You see that? I just added a waypoint from the fix info page inside of Anvil there. So that is... This fix info page is the best fix info page we have in all sims, because the Throttletek Airbus, I haven't checked it in a while, but the Throttletek Airbus was one of the first to get it almost all the way right. Flight Factor never got it right, and Fenix has it right. So glide slope star, Loke, we're all captured up. 2,400 feet, we will manage to go down. So fix info page, 100% implemented. I know that happened real quick, but see, that's the waypoint I created. So again, that's a useful tool. If you're on, you know, you're flying around, ATC says, hey, I need you to cross 10 miles this side of this fix at this altitude. You put the fix ring around it, you press the intersect button, it draws a waypoint right there where it intersected. Then you can go to your flight plan page and put a vertical constraint on it. And now you have a vertical path to go that waypoint. That is option 2. Option A is to just type it in. You would type SODO -5 flight level 240 or whatever it is. That's also another way to get a custom waypoint, a PBD, point bearing distance. All right, Bandit speed, gear down, spoilers arm. Here we go. Flaps 3 coming out. Do we have any cats fighting back here? Oh, offset in the Fenix. Yes, speed freak. I don't know if it'll work on final approach. Okay, so offsets work. To my knowledge, in this box, you should be able to select an offset from any line select key. However, the fails will not let you do the fancy stuff that Honeywell does. with the entry and exit points, but the Fenix can absolutely offset. Instead of 29091, Luca, 29092 on the Q. Was it 292? I know, I just hit Magic Barrel Ref. Here, I'll hit 29092. I don't know why I would change, but 29092. All right, we're fully configured. We're going to let this go down to minimums, and then we'll hand fly. Nice little crab angle going on here.
1,000.
1,000 feet. Well, we're below 1,000 actually. That's disregard. A lot of sloping terrain here coming into Seattle, so kind of got to be on it. B Production says offset entails FMGC can only be accessed from PPAWs, so Fenix doesn't do it correctly according to B Production. All right, well, thank you. So according to B Production, it's not
500.
correct. Tajales. Tajales? All right, there's
100
minimums.
above.
Autopilot's off.
300. Minimum. 200.
Glide slope.
Definitely must be
Glide
something
slope.
with the glide slope here.
40. 30. 20. Retard. 10. 5.
All right, go around flaps. Man, Toga SRS, go around track. Up we go. Watch the tail. Sim's struggling a little bit there. Positive rate, gear up. We never set our missed. We did 2,000 on the last one. It's gonna blow through that. Alt star. That's why they used to always do that to us here. So many guys would bust that on their recurrent. Leveling at 2,000 is quick. Flaps 1, speed checks. Yeah, it's 2,000 for the miss. Yeah, oh, trust me, I remember, Wignut. I remember. Autopilot 1's engaged. I don't have nav and go around enabled, so I manually selected nav. We're naving out to Milt for the approach. S speed, flap 0. Yeah, how many times have you floated? Hit the like button if you floated passengers going missed on the 16 Center ILS. All right, 240 selected. We're going to hold that Milt. We're selected speed. Let's reactivate, confirm the approach phase. Let's load up the RNAV. Yankee. Yankee. 3-4 center. No star. Insert. All right, so we've got same thing. Got a couple of additional lines, but we're going to take it off of, we're going to get rid of Lori. So we'll kill Lori. Oh, that sounds bad. We'll insert that. All right, out to hold at Milt and then make the procedure turn. This looks more like an accurate representation of the procedure turn, but I haven't done the mist here in a while. I think, yeah, the FSlabs has drawn that the turn way out. I don't know why, but they're both drawing the same turn. It looks like this is going to do another teardrop. We'll see here. We'll let it enter the hold. We'll also climb and hold to 5,000 because that's where we're going to start the approach. 5,000 blue, thrust climb, open climb. We're being reactivated. The new mins for 3-4 center. LNAV, VNAV is 839. 839. Yeah, FSlabs did a teardrop. I don't know, is this going to do a teardrop or parallel? Let's see. It's either going to turn at Tebby or it's going to go straight out here. Speed out star. Parallel entry. Interesting. Well, the FAA doesn't care as long as you're on the protected side of the hold. I wonder what logic goes in behind that, of what makes it a parallel or teardrop in the airplane. It should be a parallel. If it was doing a teardrop, it would bust the check ride. Well, technically, as long as you're on the right side of the hole. But no. This is doing a parallel entry. We did a teardrop on the last one? Are you sure? I actually don't remember. I've been looking at this now for how long? 2 hours? I don't remember what we did at the other one. All I remember was I was more interested that it had it going way out here before re-entering. Alright, so we're entering the hold. We'll make the turn. As soon as we turn, we'll cancel the hold and proceed inbound for the RNAV. We're all set up to go for the RNAV. No auto brakes. LS push buttons on. We've got LDEV, VDEV bricks are set. I guess I'll put you on takeoff as well. Around and around we go. Ain't no FAA here. ATC doesn't care. Phantom will be busting your check rides. There you go, yeah. Yeah, teardrop just pushed it way out. There you go, Keith. Okay, so that's what it was. All right. Yeah, I mean, I believe you guys. I'm struggling to remember now. It's all starting to blur together. See? I clicked the other screen. Something. It's got to be when I click the. It's something when I'm switching monitors. Oh. How we're looking at fuel? 46, 47. Let's try it. Just because we did it last time. Engine mode to ignition start. Crossfeed open. Low tank pump sides off. Wait for the open light before you do that. And we should get decam ding. Gravity feeding. Beautiful. Again, not necessary. They just do it because they want to see you do the SOP and how to do it if you need to do it. Some guys clear the caution. I'll clear the caution, but I'll leave the ECAM so I don't forget. Oh, recalibrate in McDo after stream? You know what? I totally forgot, Vodka. I totally forgot to recalibrate after we did the firmware update. I bet you that's what it is. I bet you that's what it is. All right, so there we go. Getting down to 40 pounds. Close enough. Left tank pumps off. Crossfeed closed. Ignition back to normal. Looking good. Let's proceed direct to exit the hold. Direct to Oddbow. Insert. Arm the approach. Fenix 357. Maintain 4,000 feet. Tell Oddbow. Cleared RNAV. Thank you. 347. All right, Alt. Finals blue. AppNav is captured. We're going down to 4. Once we hit 4, we'll start slowing down. We got ops out here already talking to me. No ADC required. So if I remember, we're going to compare. It was, remember we had a little bit of oscillation going on the RNAV. Let's see if that's the same for this approach. It could just be this particular approach, who knows. Alt star, dial it back, here we go. This is going to happen quick. I'm going to preemptively get a little speed brake out here. Speed management in this Fenix is it's a different airplane, so I'm not going to say anything, but this 321 need to be on top of it here, else we come coming downhill too slick. There's final lap. Final lap is captured. Flaps 2. We're trying to get us to 180 knots here. In my experience, the Neos do slow down way faster at idle thrust. So the CEOs, it's just, you know, that smaller fan blade diameter and everything out front, those Neos, they all slow down much quicker. Or at least it feels like they do. And what I'm feeling now in the sim is good because the Fenix is requiring a little bit more drag with the spoilers to get her slowed down, whereas in the Leap Neo, I don't think I touched the spoilers once. Alright, so we're 180, we're flaps 2, just confirm we did activate, we'll clear the status. VAP is 144. Touchdown zone is 400 feet, is it? Yeah, 400 feet.
2,500.
So 2,400, we'll manage and configure. Again, we'll let her fly all the way down till minimums. .2400 MSL. Manage speed, gear down, flaps 3. Any kitties back there? No kitties. Full flaps. Full flaps in. Alright, spoilers arm, auto brakes off, landing check, cabin crew advise auto throw speed, auto brakes off, we can't remember, landing on green, landing checklist is complete. No touchy. No kitties were harmed in the making of Fenix 320. So far, we're rock steady here. Looking good. There's a gust of wind, 19 knots. Same wind condition, everything is exactly the same. AJ, thanks for $2 super chat, man. Full flaps prefers full manual control. Yeah. I don't think full flaps landed full flap yet. I know, it doesn't. Wingnut. I can't believe Full Flap Sim named his channel have a flap position that doesn't exist in a Boeing. Man. Yeah, it's just because you want to be an Airbus guy at heart, don't you? Rock steady on the RNAV, vertical deviation and lateral deviation are all bang on. Airplanes battling those gusts. Rarely chat, but often lurk. Got into aviation after stumbling on the channel a few years back, and now my PPL ride on Friday. Oh man, Stephen D, thank you so much for the support. That's fantastic to hear, man. Well, let us know how you do, man. Go in there and crush it. That's awesome.
Minimum.
All right, minimums. Autopilot's off. Flight director's off. Give me the bird. Seattle scenery is kind of poopy on this side of the airport, huh?
200.
Man, that wind just died off right there. Now we go. Here we go. A little bit
50,
high.
40, 30, 20. Retard. 5.
All right, let's go around. Watch the tail go around flaps. Flaps 3. Just gotta wait till she's ready to fly. Ignore the CRC. Man Toga, SRS, go around track. Positive rate, gear up. Here we go. All right, autopilot 1, push for managed nav, lever climb. Flaps 1. We will climb and maintain 3,000. Thrust climb, auto thrust. Let's break off heading 315. 315. We're climbing a 3. Now, this is where it dumped our weights. So we have the ILS in the secondary. Secondary, activate secondary. No weights have been dumped. We still got everything we need. Our approach is still in there. We'll reactivate, confirm. All our barrel mins are exactly as they should be. That's a flawless secondary activation. I'd never seen the one where it drops the weights before. I don't know if that's, I don't know if that was a fluke thing or not. It shouldn't drop the weight, so from real world experience, that's the benefit of having that secondary flight plan in there. You just activate secondary, your approach is in there, boom, boom, we're good to go. I'm gonna set a different speed here though. We're gonna set, we'll just maintain 2. Yeah, actually let's dial it, let's just get right on it. This is auto land time. 180, flaps 1. Offsets, they work. Xylobo, they work. We already looked at them. I can't offset off, well, I mean, I probably could offset off the final approach, but why would I want to do that? But they do work, but we've been told that you should only have offset from L1, where in the Fenix box, we get offset from any key. So that's what we've been told. But it does indeed offset just fine. All right, flaps 2. Let's come parallel, downwind here. Opposite of the upwind leg. Where's my upwind leg guys at in chat? Let's shoot a line. Anvil, it's in the box, 345 insert. Do we have to hard tune? No. ISCI is still in there, full heading. Full heading, there we go. So you'll notice that's how the secondary should work. We don't have to hard tune anything. We've got our RNAV was in there, everything. So that all worked just fine. All right, we're 180 flaps 2. This is going to be a tight turn into Anvil. I'm actually going to come back 10 knots. Let's see if we can spin it all the way around and do a smart low capture. It's going to be real tight. Low blue cat through all pump plus 2. Low star, it's got it. That's impressive. I didn't think it would actually catch that. That's real tight. With a tailwind too. 20 knots on the tail. Alright. This is it. No DH on this one. That's the only thing we're changing, right? So, same runway, same weather, same funky Microsoft things. I'm not going to touch the controls on the autoland at all. Whether we get a flashing light or whatever. This is a Cat 3 runway. We should be able to do an autoland on it. We actually might need to. We got a cloud right over the runway right now. Go figure. Glide slope star, go around altitude set 2,000 blue. Down we go. Last one. Speed Freak says, to the best of my knowledge, it largely depends on the operator and the version of the holiday software regarding the offset. Thank you. Yeah, all I know is people said the Fenix wouldn't offset. I guarantee you it offsets. It offsets 100% of the time, every time. So where that stigma came that it doesn't offset, I don't know. Blue Seahawks down there. Clouds and window are closer than they appear. All right, 2,400 feet, managed speed, gear down. No kitty cats, flaps 3. And flaps full. Captain Sim, thanks for $2 super chat. You offset. Oh, man. Oh, spoiler's arm. There we go. Thank you, Captain Sim. Appreciate you, man. All right, this is it. Hands off the controls. Not touching anything. My feet on the powder pedals. Nothing. Oh, low auto brakes. We need those. Here we go. Let's see what's gonna happen. Mason Jet, what's up, man? Any cockpit reflections in the passenger windows? I don't know. I haven't seen one yet. Don't jinx me, Al Loper. Don't jinx me, man. I don't think we're at a good sun. There's no like good sun for the cockpit window reflection, is there? I don't know. I honestly don't know. That's something you don't want to see on the final. All right. There's definitely something funky. I know it's not a coincident slope and happy, but Seattle has always been a challenge in the sim, I think. It's always been funky. Maybe I should get a pay worse at Seattle next time. Alright, winds are the same, winds are gusting. Down we go. Land green. Don't lose that slope. Got my hand over the throttle for the retard call.
50, 40, 30, 20. Set. Retard. Retard.
That's the best landing I've seen all month. That's better than all my landings. Damn. Reverse green. That's how it should auto land. Stutters are definitely simisms. My goodness, that was a good landing. All right, let's check the rudder pedal and autopilot disconnect. There it goes. We should get a red fault light because that's the incorrect way to disconnect. So this is treating it like an autopilot failure. That's why we get the ECAM. That is correct. That's all she wrote. That was the most impressive part, the freaking auto land. I was not expecting that. I was expecting it to kind of at least smash it. But, all right. Well, is that, did we get everything? Let me just stop here and let me check my notes. All that we talked about. Okay. Oh, RTA adjustment. I forgot to talk about that in the other one. Well, now our flight plans are dumped, but it does do RTA. I've been doing that in the Fenix since it released. So you can do an RTA adjustment. I don't know, man. Do we have a clearish winner for today? Well, hold on. Let's go over it. Let me shut her down. Let me get GPU. We'll go over it quickly here. We'll connect this. I'm gonna shut the engines down. We'll leave the flaps out. That's fine.
Do take care. Open.
Is it hot in Seattle today? Let's go live weather, live time. All right, so
The captain and the crew. It has been our pleasure looking after.
a winner or not. Let me go outside where it's not so loud. Left all our lights on. That's gonna drive me nuts too. I'm just gonna go over the notes that I had of everything that we did. All right, so I think the Black Square Starship won. All right, looking at the from the beginning. Actually, oh yeah, real quick, real temp. Let's see, PCA air on. Well, not let me put. Oh no, dismiss. All right, to wrap it up, the fluctuation of the temperature with the cabin fans does appear to work in the Fenix, albeit I don't think it's perfect. It might have just been because the temperature is 15. That's why we're going to kind of revisit that. We'll see if there's any fluctuation here. So now it's 20 degrees outside, 72 degrees PCA air. If we turn cabin fans off, yeah, see, 71. It's definitely trying to do 70. Flight control side signal. I got to recalibrate. So it is definitely, now we're going down to 69 with the cabin fans off. So that's definitely modeled, and that's extremely impressive to me because I don't even know how you could model the flow rate, battling against the PCA air cart and all that. So in my opinion, that goes to the Fenix. Manual engine start, both aircraft handled them flawlessly. Cross bleed start was flawless for both airplanes. Flex and Toga, when we looked at the takeoff performance data, the FSlabs has not got it simulated. It's either not simulated or not simulated correctly because it doesn't matter what flex temp you put in there, you're getting the same takeoff thrust. So that's incorrect. Ground physics, ground handling, it goes without question that I prefer the Fenix over the ground hand, like especially in the flare, the touchdown. We only had one or we have two. We had a weird yaw on the autoland, which kind of saved it from going in the dirt, and then we had a hard yaw on the first approach. But then the second approach, there really wasn't a hard yaw. So on the FSlabs, there's something going on with the ground to flight transition mode with the FSlabs that I don't like. I feel like you're coming down. It's almost like you got to hold your breath because you're going to smash it. As soon as the mains touch, the nose comes slamming down. That's not accurate. You fly the nose wheel down nice and gently, especially at 321. It's easy to get that nose wheel to come down nice and smooth. Well, the only time that nose wheel is going to slam down super fast like that is if your auto brakes low, or definitely auto brakes medium. Then those brakes grab and boom, that nose comes down quick. You got to be ready to stop it, or you just let it slam down. So again, as of right now, I don't think anything can compare. Well, I don't say anything can compare, but I prefer the Fenix close to ground transition. Taxiing, this I'll fight anybody on. I think the Fenix is the best ground taxiing airplane in the sim right now, right next to the Fokker F-28. I think the F-28 and the Fenix on the ground with the tiller, they just seem to be the most realistic in the sim. So that's my perspective on that. F-28 from Just Flight is fantastic with the ground handling as well. And to be honest with you, the MD-80 is not bad. The Leonardo MD-80 is right there. Those three airplanes are the best ground handling as far as taxiing, in my opinion. Al Loper, thank you for the $20 super chat, man. Very kind of you. Appreciate you, dude. First up, chat, remember this was all done live, not pre-recorded. Second V1, thanks for the comparison. Hey, Al, thank you so much, man, for the $20 super chat. Look, I was going to make a video on it, but then I knew as soon as I made a video, everyone would be like, oh, well, you're just making a video to edit this out and this out. I'm like, okay, so let's just do it live. But I appreciate that, Al. Thanks for the $20 super chat. Continuing down the list of stuff we test. Airborne flight. I think both airplanes hand fly great. I honestly can't tell you one flies better than the other when you're hand flying. They both felt very similar. They both felt very good. I highly recommend a Moza AB9 base. I think that's the most realistic you're going to get unless you go up in the cockpit level of side stick purchasing. But hand flying the airplanes, they both felt great. Very realistic inputs in my opinion for both of them. I probably, if you blindfolded me and you didn't know which one I was in, I probably wouldn't be able to tell the difference. So that's for the airborne hand flying. Even with the steep turns, they both felt great. I sucked on the FSlabs steep turn just because I suck. Hold entries. We did a bunch of hold entries today. I don't know why the FSlabs is drawing some weird stuff. We had some additional lines being drawn, and I've noticed that before. I noticed that on the stream yesterday as well. It doesn't draw holds I don't say properly. It draws them not cleanly and not how I would expect to see them and not how I see them in the real aircraft. The Fenix hold entries are drawn instantaneously as they should be with no extra lines, and it seems to work flawlessly. Now, as far as entering the hold, they both seem fine. I think sometimes that FSlabs kind of tends to wander when you get in that hold. The autopilot kind of hunts left and right a little bit, but I didn't see too much of that today, so that's neither here nor there. Douglas Phillips, thank you, my friend, for the $20 super chat as well. I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for the support, Douglas. Team Vodka dropping 20 gifted subs. Thank you so much, Vodka, for the support. Vodka's a resident Team Yellow Simmer in chat. That's got the yellow dot. So appreciate you, Vodka. Thank you so much, man, for the 20 gifted sub. That means a lot. I appreciate the support, dude. Thanks for sticking around and being the voice of reason in the chat today, man. Appreciate you. Jeff says, why not get Flight Factor in there while you're at it? Get jarred. Oh, Jeff. That's funny, man. Okay, going just browsing through the rest of these. Talked about steep turns. The normal law protection, Alpha Prot. This one I was surprised at. Could it be a glitch? I would imagine it. I can't imagine FSlabs would overlook something that simple. But the autopilot disconnect going into Alpha Prot did not seem to work. The airplane would just descend as if the autopilot wasn't on. That's inaccurate. That's not how the stall protections work in the A320 series of aircraft. So that needs to be either patched or looked at or something. What we saw in the Fenix was the accurate representation of Airbus stall protection. Alternate law, direct law, both airplanes entered it fine. We exited fine. They both did what they were supposed to do. We both got stall. Everything looked fine. Basic ECAM handling. This one's interesting. We did a fuel transfer. We do that in the check ride as well. Today, the FSlabs did it flawlessly, just like the Fenix did it flawlessly. Yesterday, we didn't get a ECAM warning when the fuel pumps came off. So I don't know if that's a hit or miss or inconsistency. We'll have to keep an eye on it. This was a normal operation stream. When we start getting into abnormals, maybe we'll have to revisit that. But as far as today's testing went, that handled it just fine. Johan Jacobs dropping 10 subs. My man, appreciate you, dude. Very kind, guys. Appreciate the support. Thank you. Thank you, Johan. Fix info. I'm going to put if I were to rate this on a scale of 1 to 10, the FSlabs is going to get a 2 and the Fenix will get a 10. The Fenix has, in my opinion, a flawless fix info page. It works exactly how the real airplane works. I can put radials. I can put PBDs off of radius fixes. I could create vertical points off of a radius intersecting fix. So that's how it should work. Fenix has it. Fix info is missing from the FSlabs. You can put a circle around it. That's about it. You might be able to shoot a line too. I didn't try that, but it doesn't have the other functions. Lateral offset. We've been beating this to a dead horse. I'm just going to say this. Both airplanes will do a lateral offset. And then I'll say this. Honeywell is far superior in offset. In the Honeywell system, you can set an entry-exit point. You can set the degrees that you want to enter and exit the offset. Way better, way more customizable, and it's not only off a PPAWS. We do not have a Honeywell box, though, for this, so that's to be expected. But I'm just going to let you guys fight in the comments about which one's accurate. Somebody said it should be on all the line select keys. Somebody said it's only line select key 1 because it's a PPAWS only. I don't know, but I'll tell you this. Both aircraft will offset. RTA adjustments, we didn't look at that today. The aircraft, the Fenix, will do an RTA adjustment. I've been doing that since it released. We did that on yesterday's flight in the FSlabs. It also works. The only thing is I could not delete the RTA adjustment in the FSlabs once I got it on. I couldn't delete it, so I don't know. We flew past the RTA. Everything was gone, was past that, but we couldn't change our cost index. That could be a box issue. Right, wrong, or indifferent, I don't know. That's not how ours look. I would imagine you'd be able to delete the RTA after you've passed over it. Fuel prediction, FSlabs is foobar. It's not. It's something's going on there in the fuel predict page. Don't know why. We don't get amber. We don't get alternate fuel time, and it's just something's going on there. As far as alternates, once you put an alternate in your FSlabs box, you can't get rid of the alternate. I'm pretty sure that's not going to work that way in the real aircraft. Now, I don't know if you can put none. Somebody mentioned you cannot delete the alternate in the Thales box, like I did in the Fenix, which is also how our box is. So I think they both have that incorrectly. The only difference being if they're both incorrect, once you put an alternate in the FSlabs, you can't get rid of it. So Fenix, you can get rid of it incorrectly or not. Approaches, wrapping up the approaches, everything was flowing pretty good. I don't see any discrepancies on any of the approaches. I do think the Fenix autopilot tracking is better. It's smoother. It's more locked in. This was apparent on the first ILS approach that we broke off and hand flew, and it was very apparent when we did the autoland. The FSlabs essentially crashed on the autoland. The Fenix landed better than I could land the airplane manually. So it did a flawless auto land. Even though it had a little bit of a glide slope situation going on there, it was able to track it, landed on center line, And then, of course, the autopilot failed by incorrectly disconnecting the autopilot by pressing the rudder after touchdown. So to wrap it up in a nutshell, I have yet to find something the FSlabs does better than the Fenix. Other than I've been told brake temperature simulation is better and the battery test on the initial load-in is better. If you guys know of systems that are better simulated in the FSlabs, leave a comment below because I'm genuinely asking, and I would love to put it to the test. So I think that's it. That's going to wrap it up. 4:20. I got to get out of here. A couple comments. Jeff, we don't even have to go to Expo. You could just walk around on a Discord call with each other. Less sales pitches. What? Oh my gosh. An FS Expo scenery or unsub. Oh my goodness. All right. Justin says, I don't care how good FSlabs is. I will never support a company that installs spyware. Jeff says, I'm pretty sure I'm fired from ZKC at this point. I haven't had time to control. That's all right, Jeff. I got fired from VATSIM, so maybe we're in the same boat. Maybe you should hop on Iveo. It's 4:20. Vodka's ready to go. I'm ready to go. Thank you again for the support, guys. As far as the comments go on this, look, we're all flight simmers. I know everyone gets heated when somebody disagrees with somebody. It's 2025. As long as you're attacking the argument, it's fine. As soon as you guys start freaking out and calling each other names, I'm going to just start banning you from commenting on the channel and the videos. So that's just how that rule goes. But let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if there's something you want me to test, put it in the comments because I will test it. We'll try them head to head. Once the Fenix Neo releases, then we'll actually do this for real with a grading system, a point system. I'll have a whole test sheet. We're going to do everything down to the T, and it will be a knockout fight for both aircraft. But at the end of the day, competition is good. It's going to push each dev to do better. So that's what we want. With that, I'm finally signing off. I'm wiped. You guys have been awesome. Thank you for the support. Barry Seal VA incoming. Yes. Railcat will take it easy. Harris, take it easy. Max, take it easy. Jack. Team Vodka, you guys are all awesome. I'm signing off. Enjoy the rest of your night. See you.